to the Sundays with Wendy live.
Thank you.
Yeah, we decided to do something a little different this time, and I am gonna try and see if we can get the chat function working in here in our screen. Okay, here's the chat. Okay, live stream chat. Okay, hopefully that will work. So if anyone is watching, welcome. Um, this session we decided to call Happy Hour Healing. And there's a kind of funny story about that. Monica and I wanted to come on and do a live, and we were kind of reminiscing about the time we met, and I said, Monica, I always knew that this work was real. I never questioned that, but one time, normally we had our sessions. I think they were 5:45 in the morning by
Yeah.
Skype at the time, and we for some reason we had a session at night. I don't know why. It was like after 6, and I think I had gone to actually happy hour and had a drink, and then when I was getting ready to log on, I felt very guilty because I really don't like to drink or do anything around any kind of healing. And I thought, oh gosh, well, maybe she won't know, right? And so we got on and we went into meditation, and you started giggling and swaying. And I said, oh my God, this is such confirmation that you were in my field. You were in I mean, there's so many words to call it, my energy field,
Energy field.
you know, and I didn't say anything to you at the time. But I thought, oh my God, it's there,
Yeah.
and you can't hide
Yeah.
it.
You can't hide it. And I think you hadn't told me either that, you had had a happy hour before, right?
And so we were laughing, and we said, well, what if we just call it Happy Hour Healing?
Yeah. Right? So it is a time of the day when people should be spending time having fun.
I
And
mean, it's
yeah,
yeah, five
right?
o'clock, right?
5 o'clock.
Is that what
Yeah.
it is?
And on
No,
a
I'm not
Sunday.
having anything to drink.
I
But
am, but I'm having some freshly brewed tea that I made with, oh, if you all could smell this, it's so divine. Made with cloves, rosemary,
ooh,
and cinnamon from Sri Lanka. Really amazing, flavorful. Ah, that's what I'm drinking here.
no, we're tell
I
me
hope
now. You have to
everyone
tell
has
me
a nice
where.
cup.
Now you have to tell me where you got the tea. It sounds so good.
It's yummy.
Oh my gosh, did you make
Yeah.
it yourself?
I did. I did.
Oh, okay.
I did. I brought some fresh cinnamon sticks from Sri Lanka. We were there during the summertime. It's delicious, so flavorful, so rich, and rosemary dried, which I should have used fresh from my garden. I grow them here, and cloves. Really good for digestion and helps you in so many other ways. Yeah, very healing. If you
Oh
haven't
yeah,
tried it, do try it.
it sounds very
Yeah.
healing. Yeah, I don't have anything with me right now. I think there's some water back there, but
Well, well, we're open to answer any questions if anyone has any.
yeah, I think we have some
Yeah,
people that are popping in, and I
good.
just said hi in the chat. But Monica, do you want to? We had a theme for today's live as
Yeah.
well.
Yes, today's theme is actually free flow and open, but the big focus is more than what meets the eye. So we're focused on anything healing, anything actually. Um, and Wendy and I are here to sort of answer questions. We've each had our own experiences in the realm of healing, each different but yet very special. And and I know each one of you who is listening out there has had some experiences, and the whole globe, the whole universe is sort of on this path of shifts that we're seeing more so now and in the years to come. Um, we're all sort of evolving, growing, and it's just such a fun time for us to be here and experience, you all growing. And don't you agree? Wendy's, when you started work together when we were working together several years ago, many years ago, a few years ago. It was not such a well accepted concept, even. You came into it because you were open with yoga that you had been doing before and other modalities that you had tapped into. But I think around that time when we were working together, also you became opened, and then there were so many more after that. I know, and I was blessed to be in touch with, and I've seen such a growth. I mean, from that time, even 10 years ago to now, it's just been on the ascension. So it's just been fun to watch everybody, you know,
Yeah, I know.
uh,
Well, if we're not
come
growing,
into themselves.
I don't know what we're doing if we're not growing, right?
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, gosh, it was almost 10 years ago.
Was
And yeah,
it?
I didn't
Yeah.
share with a lot of people that I was, really seeking out this work. Yeah, my close friends and family knew. But it is funny because 10 years later, I was at I might have shared this before, but I was at a business client. I'm doing some consulting work. And I don't even know how it came up, but like we got into this whole thing about Reiki. The next thing you know, she brought a sage stick the next day and sage in the office. And I just kind of giggled because those conversations would not have happened.
They would not have
No.
back then, right? Yeah.
Mm-mm.
So now, as you know, that everybody is being more open. And I think, when we talk about healing, a lot of times people wonder, what does that mean? Are you, really healing me from physical issues? Of course, there are physical issue healings that happen, and a bulk of the people that I see probably begin with that. But as that gets addressed, there's so much more to be had, and there's such a big the I mean, how should I say, there's so many ways in which an individual can heal. And I think everybody needs to go through it. And in my case, because I had my near-death experience, I think many of you have a sense about that. That was about 15 years ago. And a lot of the times, we feel, well, someone just, died, went out of the body, came back again, and that person's healed. But truth be told, it didn't work that way for me. It was part of that, but there was a lot of other healing I had to go through myself. And for me, I had the energies, the divine energies, to to be there with me, to show me things that needed healing, and it did the healing for me. So it wasn't just simply as, oh, she just came out of the body, came back in, boom, she's a new person again. There was growth. And I think even if I'm doing the work of healing right now and working with others to help them open something in them to heal, I mean, my growth is ongoing too. I mean, it's that's the beauty of this work, isn't it? Yeah.
All right, so we have. I'm just gonna. Monica, I don't know if you can see the chat function, but I'm
I
just gonna read it
cannot.
here. So we
I
have
see
someone.
one, I think.
Yeah,
See
someone
one
called
person.
G. Hello, thank you for hosting Happy Hour Healing. Yeah.
Thank you, G.
Yeah, but type us a question. We want this to be about you guys,
Yeah. Ask us anything.
right? But Monica, I asked you a question recently, and I think you have alluded to this in some of our conversations. But you see, like what you were doing with me 10 years ago, and the way we would work together is like exponentially faster when working with people now. And
Yeah.
why do you think that is?
Why do you think it's faster?
Yeah.
Yes, I think because it's imperative right now. The world is, through this collective consciousness, we are ready to all evolve as a human race, much more than it was back 15 years ago, 10 years ago, even more. I remember when I moved to the United States about almost 30 years ago, 28 years ago. And I used to meditate very regularly. I had been trained in transcendental meditation and Siddhi meditation back then. And I had a practice going here, about 2 hours of meditation every day. And when I would talk about it with people that I would meet, they would really wonder, wow, what is this? It was an unheard concept. Nobody knew about it, right? Or if they did, it was probably hush hush and no one really openly talked about it. But now, if you talk about meditation, everybody's talking about it. Everybody wants, either they are doing it or they want to do it. And then healing came around later. Like in my case, it was after my near death experience where I was exposed to this energy and this ability. But I think now more than ever, every soul is ready to really learn about why they are here. That's the growing need is, who am I? The questions that should have been asked but are being asked now. Better late than never, right?
Yeah,
We're in
yeah,
the right place. So that's why I feel, Wendy, good question is to, why is everybody sort of, in that mode right now? We all are. It's just the way that the earth is moving, and we've got to be sort of
I know. I heard recently. I
embracing
mean,
it.
there's so many different ways to talk about this, but
Mhm.
I heard, or have been hearing like the Earth is actually changing
Yes,
its
frequencies.
consciousness, right, and
Mhm.
its frequencies, and it's vibrating. So,
Mhm.
like I was talking to someone the other day, and they were like, "I'm so upset, and I don't even know why. Like nothing's wrong," and I think it's just because the we're feeling the energy of the Earth change. I
Absolutely.
mean, that's kind of my take, because even for me, I was like, yeah, I know Monday I had a really crappy day, but there was nothing really to be upset about. But I
Right.
was feeling so anxious. And then, you do all the tools and all the things that, help you cope. But yeah, I think that's some of it. Oh, wait, but we have a question coming in from G. Can you share a little bit about ancestral healing? That's great. That's a
Oh,
great question.
yeah. Would you like to answer that, Wendy?
Well, why don't okay? I'll tell you my spin on it, and then you let me know if you agree. But I think when we do the healing, in this lifetime, or whether this is whether they're all in parallel, that's a whole nother conversation. But like, if I'm healing my life now, I think what it's doing is actually healing the past and the future. If
Mhm. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, definitely. How I've understood it is that seven generations back and seven generations that follows us after us, whether it's our kith and kin, and if you don't have kids, it could also be through your, your siblings, or anybody that whose lives that you touch. The healing occurs that way. But what has been fascinating, it's a great question, by the way, G. Thank you for asking. What in my work, I do a lot of ancestral healing as well, and it's not planned. It really just shows up. Certain departed souls will show up in our healing sessions when I'm channeling, and many times we've had visitors come just unannounced. You're always welcome anytime, and they come with specific messages for those that I'm working with, right, who are in front of me on Zoom or in person or whatever. And they have specific messages, and usually it's a message of healing. It's something that they are still carrying with them, that the person in front of me needs to hear, or vice versa. They're coming with a message for the person that is in front of me, and they are seeking something. But usually there is always a some kind of a connection between our departed souls from our family members, that really um, you know are watching over us. They're really watching over us, and sometimes they may have, if they are not evolved, this is what I've understood, if they are not evolved and they have not gone through this spiritual work and their movement, then they may still be very entrenched in their egoic ways of living life. And I've actually met certain people at parties, at events where I've been, where they have shared with me, different people have shared with me that uh, they also get messages through their dreams sometimes of departed souls that show up in their dream, and they will say things like, go and tell this uncle or this aunt this or that. And then they ask me about it. Several of them have asked me, what should I do? Because it's creating a lot of trouble in my family. And what that's exactly back to my point is that, if a departed soul has not gone through a healing process, then their egos are still very intact, and they're still trying to project that energy through them. to their family, and it can be very complicated and it really causes stress. So I always, when I'm working with a departed energy, there's always a healing, energetic healing component that works with them. So it's always of the highest kind, and it does not create stress or strain on the person that is there in front. Just simply informational or something that will help them grow. That
Yeah.
helps. It's a vast area, though. There's so much. Over the
Yeah.
last 15 years, I've done so much work around it that um, it's never boring. It keeps me on my toes. Keeps us on our toes, rather. Yeah.
Yeah, G asked again, can I deepen my connection with my dad? He passed away 11 years ago.
Yes, absolutely. You can deepen your connection with your dad, and there are ways in which we can do so. The more you open up, and the best way actually to connect with departed souls, there are ways in which, and we can all learn how to do that. I remember when this is a personal story, but when I lost my dad about 9 years ago, first of all, I knew that he was going to be passing that day, that the soul had already reached out to me and, mentioned that, sort of connected to me and said, "Oh, I'm leaving," and so all of that sort of happened in that day and everything after that. But there were so many ways in which he was showing up, even after his soul left the body and went into the light. And in the essence of today being the happy hour healing, I'd be remiss if I didn't share this one particular funny story. This is really funny. And it's to your point, Wendy and G. Um, it was my dad had passed away. Had been many months. And a dear friend of ours, who really cares deeply about my mom and myself, she invited us with a group of few other friends to her house for dinner. And we were having dinner in a separate part of the home, and there was a champagne bottle in another part of the room. And this was many months after my dad had passed away. And we were talking and talking, and we were actually talking and reminiscing about my dad. And my father was a very fun loving, happy person, always jovial, joking, kidding around. And we were kind of sharing these stories with my friend, and my mom was with us too. And all of a sudden, this champagne bottle, which was in the other room, completely corked, it had not been opened, it popped open. And my friends were looking. It's like, "Did you do something?" I said, "No, that must have been my dad, because he always played these games." I'm sure he's kidding around there. So my point being is that there are always signs. If we stay open, we can always tap into the different signs that have been given to us, to know that our loved ones are with us all the time. And sometimes it's, I would see a similar bird all the time. I would see the same bird in my backyard all the time showing up. And I knew that bird, because birds have a significance to departed souls. And so I think if we start out first like that to connect, then there are deeper ways in which we can, really, really connect to the energies of our loved ones. And Wendy, you probably have some experiences
Oh gosh,
yourself,
I have
right?
so many. But
Yeah.
I'm of the belief that you have, at least for me, I ask. In my meditation, I have something I call I have so many people on the other side now, so I call them my internal counsel.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we have a meeting every morning in my meditation, and I thank them for their assistance from whatever happened the day before, and I ask for very specific. But I think you have to be very specific. The more specific you are, but yeah, I'll ask. I mean, one time before, I kind of honed that skill. A little deeper, I asked Ben, and I think it was around a birthday or holiday or anniversary. I said, "Yeah, can you send me a sign, but I need it to be bold." you know and so I got up, and I think you set that, you ask, and then you just get up and you move through your day, and kind of let the expectation of what that ask would be go. And so I was coming around, I grabbed coffee, and I was coming around. It was a Sunday morning, so there wasn't a lot of traffic, and so I pull out on the street, and in front of me was this, I mean, it looked like something from the 70s, like one of those Volkswagen,
Mm.
buggy like vans, like you wouldn't even see on the street. And it was totally painted in all these bright colors, like something out of a movie, a cartoon movie. And it said love, peace, joy, and it was all over the whole thing. And I looked at it and I had to do a double take and I was like, wait a minute, like, is anybody else seeing this? And then the next thing you know, I think it veered, onto the interstate and off it went. But I asked for it to be bold, and there it was.
And there
And
you
there you
got it.
got it.
You
You
got
got
it.
it. So I think, and I mean, that's the part to me that is fun, that you can play with it. I
Absolutely.
don't take it so seriously, and I enjoy waiting for what comes.
Right. And one good way also, I feel that, I've helped others sort of reconnect to their loved ones, who left this physical plane. One of the way I feel the best way actually that you can really, really, as Wendy, to Wendy's point, joy is is a beautiful way to use to connect. And you have to be in your heart. That's something, and usually when those who are grieving after a loved one that just passed away, immediately after, it's harder to connect with them at that point because the grief comes along and shuts down the heart. So the sooner we can sort of, let go of that, releasing it out of the body, releasing that, the energy out, and cleaning and cleansing that space, I feel like it's much easier then. That's how the channeling also works for me. Easier is when there are no barriers, nothing's to stop that. So being in the heart is critical, and connecting to joy and love. So these are the two big, you know, easy ways to, I feel, connect.
Yeah. But sometimes I hear people say about a loved one who has passed, like, I wish I could tell my mom this, or I wish I had said this to my sister. And I don't always say it because it's not always appropriate if I don't know them well. But I want to say, tell them now. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that it ends. I mean, it's still a living and breathing, sustainable love.
Yeah.
And
Right.
that's what I think I think some of the people I've talked to, maybe they don't believe that they could have that connection.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. It's because we're so, caught up in this three-dimensional existence. We feel like if we don't see the person, that we can't really communicate. But, death is nothing more than the sort of it's a shift of the energy from the physical, matter, three-dimensional matter, moving into the ethers, or moving into a spirit form. It's simply as simple as moving from one room to the next. So just because you cannot see the person out there doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I mean, it doesn't exist in that same form as we are used to seeing them, but the spirit exists, um, and it listens, it can hear everything. And so back to what you're saying, Wendy, just speak like like they are right there. I think that really helps, you feel that connection, and the more you do it, the deeper it gets.
There is a beautiful poem I actually read at my grandmother's service, and it says, "Death is nothing at all. Speak to me in the same tone."
Yes,
And then at
exactly.
the end it says, "Nothing has changed. I'm just around the corner." And I probably botched
Exactly.
that whole thing up, but that poem just, um, it really spoke to me. And
Mhm.
I don't know if everyone felt that the same way about that, but
Mhm.
yeah, I even wrote a whole essay on that with about my grandmother, with a little line from that poem, because it was so, to me it was like, she's just here.
She's just there.
She's just here,
Yeah,
you know.
nothing's changed.
Mm-hmm.
Because, in the end, I mean, even with us and ourselves too, I mean, our bodies are just a temporary place of abode.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going anywhere else beyond now and these years that follow. Mm, but when we have connected with each other, um, in the afterlife, we still will know each other. That doesn't change ever, right? So why should it change just because somebody passes away?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, I've just really learned to, I think people will say, gosh, I feel so sorry for Wendy or this and that. And I've gotten to a point where I go, don't feel sorry for me. Like, I've got a really cool connection to the other
Yeah.
side
Yes.
that's so powerful.
Yes, it is. It is indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I mean, it's different, but still, still cool, all the same. But that's what kind of goes back to our topic about, the things that we can't see. And I think my natural curiosity is always not what is in front of us. I mean, it
Hmm.
doesn't matter if I'm talking about health things or work. I mean, I'm always curious, okay, well we know now, but what don't we know?
Yes.
What has science not uncovered, or what have we not, I mean, just yeah. And it's so funny because with some of my friends we get talking about the latest whatever it is. Like right now it's peptides, right? That's all anyone's talking about. But, now they're going to put science to it and then it'll be okay. But I mean, at some level, all of that, it's good to know that there's an effectiveness. However, like, I think we're really giving our power away about what our own body needs when we, rely too much on proof.
Yes. It kind of, I mean, yes, you're right. And that's just how most humans are wired. The brain, the mind is wired in the scientific understanding of life. And if science cannot prove it, then they question, is it true? Is it possible? It's always that. But what what I say, and I think a lot of people will agree, is that spirituality already exists, and the science is catching up to it. And I think it's happening sooner now. That's also part of the consciousness changing. Is I think they are figuring it out as well, and hopefully those of us who are on the sidelines will slowly get more into the mainstream. My hope, our hope, right?
Mm-hmm. All right,
Yeah.
Connie has a question. Monica and Wendy, enjoy the conversation. My happy hour includes hot tea.
Ooh.
I'm finding ways other than meditation to quiet the mind when there are so many distractions. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, there are so many other ways. Yeah, a walk in nature will do it, I think, for lots of people. Just going for a walk around water or plants, trees can calm you down. Sometimes it's just shutting down and maybe even cooking sometimes. Anything that you can really get your, mind slowing down or shutting down and being so very engrossed in something, like if you were to do a dance or paint or sing, anything creative, and you're so engrossed in it, I think that's a good way to sort of switch the thinking mind down, getting back into the no mind state.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I know.
creativity can do it.
Mm-hmm. Or sometimes if I need to be working and
Yeah.
I find myself anxious or something, I will play. I created a Spotify playlist of the HC healing tones. And I just heard recently that we really need to be listening to eights and nines, the 800 and 900
800s and
levels. Yeah,
900s, yeah.
because I mean, it's good to listen to all of them, and maybe sometimes we need some of the other ones as well. But like, it'll just take my nervous system down.
It
I
does.
mean, almost immediately.
Hmm. Yeah. I know a lot of people that use those stones, yeah, to sort of tamp it down a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Uh,
So that's kind of something I'll go to.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. There's so many other kinds of, you know, ways in which you can, I mean, spending time with your plants can also help really get some of that beautiful energy into you and calm you down, slow down. I think that's, our life gets so busy, right, these days. We're always running around and zooming. And so finding ways to sort of backpedal and slow down your life, and pouring yourself a nice hot cup of tea is a good way to also.
And
You know,
I, when
shut
I,
your mind down.
when I was remodeling my house, I was finding myself a little, this is a couple of years ago, a little irritated when everything that I was purchasing came with an app. Like the washing machine had an app, and so at my house, I went to a lot of trouble to find things that weren't
App
like you
based.
have to actually go over and turn the light switch on.
Mm.
You have to work at my house. So I, you're right. So, but it was hard to find things that didn't have all this extra electronic
Yeah.
or connection to it. And so sometimes I'm really happy that I did that because I don't feel there's that extra vibration
Wiring.
going on. And then I'll continually try to turn off notifications,
Yeah.
on the phone, so you're just, I don't think we realize how pinged we are throughout the day. And I was talking to my sister too. She was like, yeah, I'm turning off all that stuff. She used to live on this really busy street, and you'd be at her house, and maybe they had 4 devices at a time. And we'd be sitting in the living room, and a car would go by, and the Ring doorbell would go off on all the devices in the house. And it was so funny, and I was like, oh. But so she finally, like, well, she's moved since then, but like it was just funny. Like even now she's like, I think she can feel it.
Yes, yes. It causes, I think, more anxiety in us. Those of us who are sort of, tapping into energies all the time, that can really, the noises and I don't know, the machines, as you said, all these, I don't know, phones and iPads and all of these electronics can really, those of us who are like sort of hypersensitive, we can feel those energies. And yeah,
Yeah. I
right?
admit I'm super sensitive, like super sensitive, because some
Yeah,
of this stuff doesn't affect other people. They're like, what
it
are you
doesn't.
talking about?
True.
And I'm like, gosh, that really must be nice. But Connie has another question. What is the healing sound? So Connie, I'm happy, to share this with you. It's a Spotify playlist, Wendy Goldberg, HC Healing Tones. So they are the HC frequencies, and there's one at 100 level, there's one at a 200 level, and it goes all the way up to 9. So I picked 9 songs off those. Monica, correct me if I say this wrong. Is it the Soulful frequencies?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yes.
But if you just type in any, if you're on God, is Pandora still around? Or any of the streaming, and you type in,
Spotify. I don't know.
yes, right. Yeah, HC tones or pure tones. And it's no, they're not, there's no lyrics or anything. It's just pure sound. And some of them, when you first hear it, like, there's one or two that I don't love. I don't like, at first, I don't like the sound of it. But, we must need it for a reason, right? I mean, I don't know. I don't have to love them all, but they seem to work. And then, there's a couple of the Mozart
I
songs,
love
like
Mozart.
symphony number, I could look it up again, but the first, it's like the first 3 minutes of symphony number 7 or something that really is supposed to do a lot of healing work. Have you heard that too?
Yes, I have.
Certain of those?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's really amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, those can help. Also, if you have a, a bell, a singing bowl, if you ding that, also can be very healing if you have that access to. But you have to be careful because some of those singing bowls may not have the right pitch, but you need to find the one that matches with a specific frequency. And I can research that and let you all know maybe if you are interested. But
Yeah. I mean, so what, Monica, you work with so many people. What do you see working for your clients?
in terms of finding ways to calm down or
Yeah.
quiet their minds,
Yeah.
some of the things I mentioned about, really, really making a conscious effort to slow down in a day, because many of the people that I work with are leading super busy lives, in whether they're in their C-suite work life, or they are physicians, or they are lawyers, or I mean, like, it doesn't matter, or they're students who are going to university. The life is so fast paced these days. So what I tell everybody is to find those quiet moments, find time to you know, pause,
Mm-hmm.
breathe. Breathing is that bridge from the mind here to the heart. So, those of you who are listening and you worked with me on some at some level in some capacity, you will know that the importance of my that may sound like a broken record, but really about shifting from mind to heart. That is really important, and we can get to the heart more readily. The more we practice it, the easier it gets. And so, no matter how busy world is or life is or chaotic it might be,
Mm-hmm.
that's your sanctuary, or that's your secret space that you can actually go in and switch off and calm down and let the noise be where it is, and you really can find that calm there.
Yeah. Connie
But
says, when
yeah.
you say healing work, what does that mean?
Oh, good question. Healing work. Healing work. It means different things to different people. Um, what I understand. Healing is simply, in the way I understand healing, is growth in letting the layers that we have collected over time from birth to now, and sometimes from previous lifetimes to now as well, allowing those layers to simply fall away bit by bit, with the understanding or the intent to know who we are as souls
Mm-hmm.
connecting to the greater energy, the oneness. That I know is what healing is and where it all should take us.
Mm-hmm.
And so everything that is happening in the world around us, everything sort of goes into the background. It literally blurs. That I've seen that happen personally. Nothing seems to affect us when we are more connected with the divine energies. When we
Mm-hmm.
sink in, but it takes time. It depends on how much work someone has done over the lifetimes or even this lifetime. And the more we are connecting to that source energy, the easier it is for us to navigate life.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I understand healing to be. It's not really curing. So many a times I'll have clients or people who will ask me, I have this illness. Can you heal? Can you cure me? Well, curing and healing, they're two different things. And really, what we found is that when we channel the energy runs through this body. It works with individuals to help them reconnect by losing parts of their lives that no longer support them.
Mm-hmm.
I hope this helps.
Yeah. That's a
Yeah.
tough concept, though.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think
It's
for
hard to
people.
understand, and hard, and
Mm-hmm.
unless you're actually in it, and you're going through the shifts in you, um, sitting on the sidelines, it's hard to really understand it from our minds,
Mm-hmm.
because our mind can only see such a limited viewpoint, and understanding is so closed that unless you get out of there, you're not going to be able to understand it fully, other than on a theoretical level. To actually understand it is to be, in a practical sense, going through it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you have your experiences that you also can share, Wendy, from from our time.
Yeah, because I think what happens is when you, let's say you heal an aspect of yourself or something, shifts or falls away, it can create a void, and that I
Mhm.
think that can be very scary because now there's this extra space which can feel very unsettling.
Mhm.
And then but that's really truly the opportunity to
Yeah.
to create something new or to envision what the next thing is.
Or simply to allow.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you're right, Wendy. I mean, our human mindset is such that we fret, we fear, the openness or the void, as you said. But the void actually is a welcome break,
Mm-hmm.
because in that something new will come through that is really meant for our own growth, for the next iteration, and part of the time we get so sort of um, we get very caught up in knowing and, or being attached to fear or being attached to pain unknowingly. We do this unknowingly, but sometimes when that frees up, it's actually amazing when it does free up and the space is open.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, Connie said thank you for clarifying.
you're welcome. Any other questions?
No, not
Anybody?
right now. I mean, we still got, yeah, yeah, chime in. Where are you guys connecting from? Monica is in Richmond, Virginia, and I am in Virginia Beach. I know, Monica, when you and I used to connect on Skype, I mean, gosh, that seems so antiquated now, doesn't it?
It's early mornings.
With the technology we have now,
What should it be anywhere?
right? Anywhere, anytime. I mean, just pop on a Zoom, right?
Yeah.
G said, I've been given to understand that the only time is now. I understand, but not through the lens of my mind. Could you share an insight about that?
Could you please
Yeah,
repeat
yeah,
the set?
sure. So I've been given to understand that the only time is now. I understand that, but through the lens of my mind. Could you share an insight about that? India.
Okay. The only time is now. Mm, right. So I think what you might be referring to is the understanding that time as we know it is always in the now. I think that's what you might be asking. That's correct. But I may have to explain a little bit more about what that means in practicality, because we know this on on a intellectual level. Um, so I'll have to explain this from my understanding of the near-death experience, where out of the body, we are removed from this three-dimensional connection, where we understand that life and time, in the way we understand it here on this earth, is very different in that space, in the up in the ethers or wherever it is that we go when we detach from the physical body. Um, Life and time as we know it here doesn't exist there the same way. There's a whole different understanding, and I think we can make sense of it somehow, because the way we calculate time on earth is different from how we calculate time on the moon or in Mars or some other country, some other planet rather. Is that true? We know that it slows down. So um, I remember coming back in the body physically, time made no sense to me because it's not linear in the way that we as humans, we have formulated time to be. So everything can happen at the same time. Everything happens. There's no past, there's no present, there's no future. Everything happens at this one time. I remember one time I was doing work with somebody many years ago. I don't remember when exactly, but may have been 5 or 7 years ago. And this person came to me and said that she was very disappointed in the way that her life had been. Um, she had a difficult childhood. She had difficult marriages, several of them, and she had pretty much given up. And when she came and sat in front of me, she said, "I don't have any hope for me at all." And when I started channeling, and this is what she told me later, she said, "You actually said to me that, you see a very direct pathway that I will find somebody that I will actually love, and a person will love me so much, and I'll be really happy the next so many years of my life." And she said, "How can you even say that? And how can you even see that when my, 60 years of my life have been like this?" And she didn't believe me at that time, but years later, she came back and she said, when you said it, I didn't believe it because I was wondering, how could you know this? Right. And it did actually happen that way. I mean, she did find somebody, she did all of this, and she returned back to me and she said, I cannot believe that you had said all of this to me. How could you have known out into the future? And I said, that's funny you say this because there really is no future. There's everything happening now. It's just that how it's appearing to you, it feels like it's in the future, or it appears to you that it's in the past. But the time as we see it on a continuum, it doesn't live, it doesn't exist like that. It's all happening now. So if I'm tapping into something and seeing something that's out there that appears to you out there in the future, actually it's now. Isn't that interesting? It just completely throws us off of what we know.
There was a book I read years ago called The Power of Now,
Mm.
and it's a little repetitive, but it's like really good because it talks about this whole thing, like how there really time really is a construct,
It
our
is.
calendars and our times, and
Yeah.
you know, if I've started to I guess feel into it a little differently. Like, you're going to go to the meeting. I mean, you're not going to not do stuff at the right time, but I just don't allow myself to get upset about
Yeah.
being a minute late like I
Yeah.
would, right?
Right. Yeah.
Like if it's like, I'm like, okay, well, if there's no time, then,
Yeah, and sometimes, what also can happen is a lot of the times, um, a lot of people who are dealing with anxiety, that is a big part of their existence. That anxiety of they want to be somewhere at a specific time, or they're performing a task at this moment, but then they're thinking in their mind about 10 other things that they have to do in a stipulated time frame, and their mind is always racing. And when I feel them, I'll say, oh, this is what you seem to be going through. You're not really focusing on this task at hand because all of these other things are happening, and you're just like racing in that moment. And they are also wired like that, in that same way that we are. Our mind, actually, it's our minds that are playing that game, that the mind is playing the game with us, but keeping us on that similar fast pace. It's always moving fast, right? It speeds up, and that also creates tremendous anxiety in people. Back to your point, Wendy, it's okay if you're 1 minute late. It's okay.
yeah, I
you
mean,
know
like, you can't, I mean, like, I just think I put so much pressure on myself and nothing mattered, right? I mean,
it just causes more stress.
mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm,
And then you know what happens when there's too much stress in the body. We
mm-hmm.
actually do get sick.
Yeah, and it's not the one stressor, it's the constant
Compounding.
chronic,
Chronic stress.
everyday kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it kind of goes
Yes.
back to those ways in which we can, you know, have those practices that just calm everything
Calm us down. Yes. Yeah.
down. I know. Anyone else have a question for Monica?
Or Wendy.
Or yeah, or me. Yeah. We just we had our annual the BGF had their annual event last night, the Imagine fundraiser. So we
Oh, how
were
was that?
all in healing mode. Yeah, we had this really cool. It was kind of our artwork and stuff was kind of like this brick kind of community thing. So we had this. It was a 42 by 72 wall, and it was like in brick on a canvas, and it had the logo, kind of like in this really cool pink neon,
Wow.
which was the thing. And so what we did is we asked everybody, like, what does the word healing mean to you? Because that was the question I asked my guests on the podcast. So everybody got a chance to write on a brick, what. So it was really cool to see what everyone wrote.
Wow. And so did it actually go on those bricks? Did
Yeah,
those
they
questions
were
get out?
writing them on. Oh, it
Oh,
was a kind of we
fun.
put it on a canvas. So yeah, I haven't seen the
The
final
final.
thing. Yeah, but yeah, it was really cool. People were writing P. It was just fun. So we had this whole big, huge wall of healing.
Wow.
Yeah, it was
Awesome. Awesome.
It was really fun. So
Yeah.
we were all in healing mode last night, talking about healing in the arts and the integration and
Yeah.
yeah. And I think I said it on stage, like the arts belong in medicine, like
Yeah.
and it's really like some like you were saying before a little bit, like people want to be cured, but they don't understand the impact, the difference between curing and healing. And I
Yeah.
heard a doctor, a very well-known oncologist, said to me, Wendy, he said, there's been people I have cured, but not healed. And then he said the opposite is true. There's people that have healed, but I could not cure them.
Mm.
And I don't know, it's so powerful. If we
Yeah.
can switch that dialogue, because, a lot of times there isn't a cure necessarily, but I do believe you can heal.
Yes, and the healing. I mean, there's a whole different, and we may have to do a whole new podcast on that also. But it's like, what does it really mean? I mean, when we come with a disease or something in the system, right? What does it really mean when it wants to, when someone wants it to just be completely removed from you, But sometimes it may matter. It may mean that you just have to live with that, but learn how to live with that. You don't have to really necessarily make it quote unquote go away, and you can still be okay with it in the system. And there have been ways in which I've done work with different people here, and they've the body just does the healing work in order to it knows how to navigate even with it, and it's okay. There are some examples, but I'll reserve that for another time.
Yeah,
There
yeah,
are
yeah.
many stories that I'd like to share.
Connie said, was there a dominant word? I don't know. Hey, Connie, could you elaborate just a little bit more? Is there a
Dominant word.
Oh, on the healing wall. Maybe she was talking about the
Nice.
healing wall. I think it was peace. A lot of people wrote peace of mind. I put wholeness. Someone put hiking.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
I know. I know. So I can't wait to get it back and see what it was. But I always found like when it was kind of unexpected. I never told my guests what at the end I just said, what does the word healing mean to you? And there was always just this pause before they spoke. That they really thought about it, and it was really meaningful because it's not something we talk about. But a lot of, I think, if I had to think of all the guests over the years, if there was a common thread, a lot of them said wholeness.
That's right. Returning back to wholeness. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think so many people feel broken, A lot of the times I've found this as a repetitive feature of this work is that they come in feeling broken, but you're not. The wholeness is there. We just have to uncover those layers to discover that,
I know.
right? But
Oh, yeah, on my healing wall. So yeah, I think it was peace. I want to, if I didn't actually, I was so tied up, chatting and talking. So I'm so excited. Maybe I'll post about it, or show a picture up tomorrow. But
yeah,
I wanted to say it's peace was
peace.
the more common thread,
Nice.
which was really cool.
Yeah. I think where everybody wants peace
Yeah.
in this day and age, more so. Yeah.
Isn't that what they used to ask the contestants, like the Miss Universe or whatever, and everyone said world peace.
World peace.
But it's true. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it's so good. Yeah. So it's kind of fun to talk about, to be in this healing space and talk to so many different people over the years. From writers to psychiatrists to healers to families, and it's so cool. And I know you experienced that too, Monica, seeing people just grow and change. And
That's the biggest gift to see them, grow and heal and shift and change and get closer and closer to who they truly are. That's the journey I think we're all on, honestly.
yeah,
Right? Yeah.
I know. Does anybody have any last minute questions before we wrap it up? We'll see if any more come through, Monica. But yeah, we'll have to do another Monica. I mean, there's so many offshoots,
Yeah,
to talk about.
there's so many offshoots, and the more participation we have, the more people we can touch. The more people that can hop on and ask these amazing questions. Thank you, G and Connie, for
Yeah,
these amazing questions that you brought forth.
yeah.
And yeah,
Connie,
we'll
yeah,
keep you in
Connie's
touch.
writing back in.
Mm-hmm.
People seem so anxious in current times. I hear people say words like uncertainty and chaos. I know, like even on some of the like even in this healing space, I'm, some of the thumbnails that come across YouTube, they seem so emergent, like something's going to happen tomorrow. And then that's kind of like the click, and people will watch the YouTubes. But I think sometimes that's creating stress as well, right? And I know that's what you have to do to attract, viewers and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it is. I think what we have to do, or what I do, is I listen to it. I don't ignore the news. I'm very much aware of what's going on. But I think we have to be more discerning about what is real to us, and
I agree.
what we pay attention to, or what we're going to invite in. I mean, I'm not a fan of ignoring, but I don't. I mean, there's some things that just don't resonate, and I don't follow. And it
Do you
doesn't
tend
seem
to
to be.
watch it? Do you tend to
No, I
watch it,
don't
or do
watch
you
it.
read it?
No, it's more reading. I have it's funny. I have a big projector. I don't, it's like a TV in a box that goes on the screen. But so I don't have the typical channels, and I really just stream stuff. But it's really just a few minutes online, homepage, or if you click on a
Yeah.
few, and you can know what's going on. You don't have to watch the news, but I mean, within a few minutes of looking at some headlines, you can tell.
Yeah.
And
And
I do it so I can talk to people. So if so I can have an intelligent conversation if I'm at a meeting or whatever. I want to know what's going on, but I don't go down the rabbit holes.
Right. Yeah. Because a lot of people feel, very agitated by the news pieces that they listen to. And more people are in that pocket. I think as humanity is evolving, more and more people are becoming more aware, and they just don't want to listen to all that. Have you found that
Oh yeah,
happen to yourself too?
like
Yeah. Just
less
almost like don't want to
people.
listen to it. Yeah.
And it's not that I don't know. I mean, I think we're creating these. I don't know what to call it. Realities, but you're just kind of creating this reality where that doesn't play a part in your existence. Like it's there, but I don't invite it in.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's I mean,
Don't.
you can get pulled in pretty easy. But I feel like now there's a like when I watch something, and now that with this AI video, you can't. It's hard to tell what's real and what's not. But I really sit with something, and there's sometimes I'm like, I don't feel like that's real, right? On the news, I mean, not all the news, but it was like that doesn't seem right to me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tricky. It is tricky these days.
It is
But
tricky. But you're right. I mean, it's on us as to what we want to take in and what we don't need to get into.
and I think that just goes back to creating this life that's more peaceful for yourself, and it's something we do individually.
Yes. Yeah. Right.
For sure. All right, so G says, please, another Monica and Wendy, many thanks. Well, thank you, G.
Thank you.
All right, Monica, we will sign off tonight. Sundays with Wendy, happy hour healing.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for joining me, and we'll schedule another one soon.
Sounds good. Looking forward.
Good night.
Good
Bye,
night.
everybody.
Bye.